It's just starting to record. So it's just counting down.
Okay,
Now you can start whenever you feel free, and I will put myself on mute.
great. Ready to go now. Hi, everyone. Thanks for sharing your time today for us to show you how Dynamo can help Halogen with your new campaign. I promise I'm not going to take much of your time, so let's jump into it. So, about me, my name's Nick. I'm an account executive at Dynamo. I've worked on campaigns for many global energy companies, public utilities. I've been brought on to help you with this. And what are we going to do today? I'm going to go over the basics of digital marketing, give you a better idea what Dynamo does, and how we could help you market directly to consumers. So let's start with back to basics. What's marketing? Quite simply, it's a simple definition you see on screen. A market is where supply meets demand, and marketing is any activity that connects the two. But there's a lot involved in what makes a high quality message, and I will show you right now. So, what's traditional marketing? We all know this. It's TV and all these adverts you see, radio. And what it is, it's really casting a large net to throw at the audience and possibly catch some people in the message. But today, digital marketing, this is the big buzzword. It's using the same message, but the key thing to know is that here we could focus the message on a targeted few. So using Facebook, Twitter, search engine optimization, we can narrow the focus to a specific group of people. In your case, homeowners who are interested in saving energy and may be environmentally friendly. And out of these two, which do you think is right for halogen? It's obvious digital marketing by a long shot for reasons I said. And it'll be even more clear in about 10 minutes' time. So, digital marketing, why do you need it? Well, you're selling to a specific audience. These are homeowners shopping for energy. They're in a digital world. They're going to be doing it online. Almost everybody shops and switches for energy there. So, targeting a specific audience who shop online. You're going to need a digital approach. Throwing a TV advert probably won't be very helpful. But one important thing about marketing, it's not just about you. It's also about what are you going to do for the customer? How are you going to connect that supply that you have with their demand? And the problem now is today with trust and skyrocketing energy prices and the news, the social media, people, it's overwhelmingly negative. Your CEO, Jeremy, let it slip that somebody in your team thinks marketing's unethical. But the irony here is that your target customer is going to be probably thinking that you're unethical, and that's the better truth. But luckily, we can try to fight this and we could do it well with smart marketing. Some examples would be help, like you're going to be showing your customers what you can give to help them live better. Trust, you're going to improve your transparency with your app and see exactly how much customers are using and what you're charging. Empowerment, that's also letting customers at the same time take control over their energy use and save money, and also appealing to a greater good. This is quite common. You want to sell your green credentials, but you could also help the customer feel like they're helping the environment, and they will be. So let's go more into the basics of marketing. What's the marketing mix? It's an industry standard. It's represents all the promotional methods that you can use to sell your product. Marketing is not just simple as placing an advert online and then forgetting about it and hoping something happens. Well, you need a mix of like activities and segments, if you will, that strengthen your message to reach all potential customers. So I'll go through all seven of these in detail. The first one we have is product. Why is that important? Well, we all know what the product is in your case, smart meters, the app. It's not just the physical item though, it's also the design of it, it's the features, it's how's it reliable? Is it a trustworthy product? Does it work? And the important thing is you need to know is what problem is your product solving and why is yours the best to do it? It's the core of your business. So the price also quite simple. You know what it is, it's what you charge. And of course need to charge what your customers are willing to pay and enough for you to make a profit. And the thing is about price, what's interesting is not just pound signs. There's a lot of a story behind a price. And this is an example here from market. In this price, you see here included the branding. You see what's in the price. You can see this little bonus here with polenta, delicious. That's a little bit of marketing right there, kind of implying you're getting extra and adds subliminal value. So, yeah, what does the customer get for their money? The place. Well, typically in the old days, it'd be a store, but it's where your customer makes the purchase. But in this case, Halogen, you don't have a physical store selling your meters, and your place is going to be online in a digital world. And it's important to make your customer feel at home and comfortable, and that they can do what they want to do in your virtual place. In this case, get information and hopefully make the switch. Fourth P, promotion. That's everything from adverts and sales and social media campaigning, PR. You get somebody interested in your product. Obviously, if you don't promote it and nobody knows it exists, you can't sell it. And here you see in London, a little bit of clever promotion for a store. There's, shoppers here, they could shop for umbrellas while being protected by umbrellas. A little bit of marketing built right into the actual physical place. So you see how these things are coming together, these 7 Ps. People, they're everybody at your company, anybody who deals with your product. It's everything from the customer service to the person installing the meter, and they're your ambassadors, if you will. You want somebody who's going to be the face of your brand. I know when I was shopping for these seeds, it was quite a pleasure to deal with this employee. Process. It is fundamental how your business runs from the first customer query and the entire chain of events, everything to product delivery. So, from that first email or online switch to the installation of the meter, but even more importantly, it doesn't end there. Dealing with complaints is part of the process. Everything that a company puts right when things go wrong, it goes a long way in customer relations and customer retention. You want your process to be like a well-oiled machine. Last one, proof, or we call physical evidence. It's simple. Did it actually happen? Did people buy something as a result of your efforts? For Halogen, it's easy. It's number of meters installed, apps downloaded, and we use that as a benchmark to make future decisions. So that's the 7 Ps, but that's not all. There's actually an eighth one, not part of the marketing mix, but also very important. It is your profit, or as we call it in marketing, the MORI. And here, it's quite simply a way to measure what are you getting in terms of your marketing efforts. So the extra money you made from marketing divided by your marketing cost would be the increase in return from your investments in marketing. And this ties to the proof. You have these figures that you calculate, and it lets you measure and evaluate, is your effort working? You could segment it by specific campaign, and with this information, you can target your efforts elsewhere or and double down on what you're doing already. Going to the last part of the basics, your customer journey. So every contact from the beginning to the end, it's best visualized as a funnel. And we start with how people progress from initial contact all the way to your most loyal customers. And the further they go down this funnel, the more valuable they become to you. And it'll make a lot more sense when we go through each step one at a time. And we'll do that right now. So, the first and the widest net are your prospects. These are just simply the people out there. They might not know who you are, but they might want what you want to offer, but they probably aren't aware of you. And they're what we call touch points are where you encounter these different steps of the journey. So touch point would be adverts, for example. Maybe nobody ever heard of Halogen, but they come across you on Google searching, smart energy, smart meter, something like that. And after that, we got the visitor stage. These are prospects and they're looking to your offer. They're interested. Maybe they saw you on one of those links and now they wound up on your website. And what's the difference between visitors and leads? Where do the leads come from? Well, leads were originally visitors and you stimulate desire and interest. And at this point, they're more actively considering a purchase and are right at that step. So a touch point here would be like try before you buy. It could be maybe an interactive app on your website, enticing info, give them more information on how they control their energy use. And then luckily, when you get to the customer stage, you actually made a purchase. So now you have them on board. Your challenge is to retain them. Touch points, very simple. Also, physical evidence. They switch to you. They've downloaded the app. And they're on now your monthly direct debit. You have a customer. And lastly, what you want is to retain those customers. And ideally, if they become your most loyal ambassadors of your brand, and that means they talk about you positively, they can actually help you gain more business, and they actually do some of the marketing for you. And quite common touch points where this is a good example is like customer referrals. I know with my energy company, which hopefully will be halogen quite soon, actually quite interesting. It'd be customer referrals. If I refer somebody else 50 quid and I get 50 quid. Online brand engagement, you'll see this with some case studies coming up. Say, for example, developing a community, like a Twitter campaign, customers could post screenshots of the app that will show how much money they saved and hashtag, save with halogen, all linking back to your website and getting that information out there. So these fans will actually do quite a bit of the work for you. You can see why when you go down this funnel, the further down they go, you have leakage at each point, but that's okay. These folks are extremely valuable and you want them to stay with you. So, to recap all this, you have prospects. They're the ones, awareness gains prospects. Visitors are now considering purchasing. Your leads, hopefully will purchase. Retention, your customers made a purchase. Now you want to keep them so they could turn into fans, hopefully. And that is when they advocate for you. So that's marketing in a nutshell. And sure, you have questions. But now let's go into what we can do for you. These are case studies of our winning campaigns for energy clients. GE, General Electric, their InstaWalk campaign. This is a good example of how not all marketing has to do with actually selling something. Some of it is, say, soft, what we call it's brand awareness, PR, improving image, and I alluded to energy company trust being low. It's developing a good halo effect, if you will. In this campaign, the goal was to just get the word out there about GE. What are they doing that's good for the world? And the campaign was fantastic by all on Instagram using some of the best photographers out to look at jet engine facilities and do real-time tours. And was it successful? Absolutely. I mean, they made multiple photos to Instagram's most popular photo page, almost 4 million unique views, 3,000 followers. And the coolest part of this is that it had absolutely £0 in paid media support. So you could do a lot with digital marketing for quite low, or in this case, almost no cost. Second, we have EDF Good Night. I'm sure you all know of the wall. EDF had a great little campaign that we did for them a couple of years ago. And the goal was pretty similar to you. We wanted to encourage customers to switch to their smart meter device, the Eco Manager. And this is a real world customer journey of example of turning leads and visitors into customers by stimulating desire. And their head of brand at EDF, he said it all, how with the Eco Manager, households could follow the examples of the Walton in the famous goodnight scene, and you could actually switch off all your appliances virtually, if you will. This is something that, say, via the app or your smart meter, you could do the same thing with your product. And absolutely, it was successful. We were able to measure, remember the MORI with the marketing return on investment. We had a 42% increase in switches to EDF after this campaign run and 78% increase in eco managers installed. And lastly, BG&E, Baltimore Gas and Electric. I worked on this campaign personally in New York, and their little fairy tale campaign, Efficiently Ever After. This is a good example of the ambassador stage of the customer journey. And these are already customers. And what we're doing here is saying, okay, now you're with us, look at what you can do. So you want to increase the engagement involvement with your company. In this case, is to enroll the customers into a program that they might not be aware about. So live brightly ever after, upgrade your palace. We talked about rebates, cash in your refrigerator, get a reward, and use these little fairy tale messages about living efficiently after. And it's quite simple campaign, but we're quite proud of it at Dynamo. Quadrupled participation in the program, and we won an Emmy Award for it. And that brings us to a close. So that's marketing in a nutshell and what we can do for you. And if you have any questions, we certainly have answers. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks for that. Really thorough presentation. So if Halogen ask us what maybe campaign to start with or what you suggest starting with for their new customer audience base, what is it that you would suggest?
To start with, what I would suggest is the problem is, it's not a problem, it's a challenge, that the energy market is quite crowded. And with customers now, virtually all, I know from experience and from research, is that energy switching tends to be online with websites for like Money Saving Expert and USwitch and websites like that. So somebody would most likely Google, according to our research, switch energy suppliers, smart meters, and I would say Google adverts would be a great place to start because it really does start there with somebody wanting to save energy. And you want to target adverts to your audience because I know from your brief that you're specifically looking for homeowners, for example. And that is something that you could tweak in Google or on social media. It's a lot easier, say Facebook or Instagram. And that's the first approach to cast the widest net because most likely that's where people are going to start looking.
Oh, got you. So they'll be, if I understood correctly, they'll search on Google for switching or for energy saving or
I
both?
think absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's the first net because the energy market, there are so many different companies out there. And also right now with price caps, the price charge is probably going to be the same. So what we need to do is get the word out there is why is it more appealing to switch to halogen as EF or Eon or something when everybody's paying the same price. So what can the eco manager offer? I mean, and the app, and what can it extra benefit can you give you, or if you want to say the soft benefits. So, but first, the important thing is to get them on the website. So it's an eye-catching something that would hook them into actually making the into getting to your website. That's the most important step of this customer journey.
Okay, so it's using so if they're on Google, it might be a text ad or something like that, or it could be a display ad, but we're using messages that connect with the audience to convert them to get to the website. So that's a good approach. I like that.
Yeah.
And for Halogen, what do you think their product would be?
Their product is an experience. It's a meter is not somebody most people think about. It's not something that you have on display in your house, although you can. I mean, some smart meters and their little things are quite pretty looking and flashing lights, and they look nice. We have ours at home on top of the boiler, and we check it. But it's the experience and the reassurance that I know what's going on. I know how much energy we're using to do this. I know, for example, if I'm running my heater in my home office for 2 hours and I come back and I see how much energy I used, I'm in control. It's also a smooth experience with the app. Does it work properly? Does it crash? Are people uninstalling it? And if so, why? Excuse me. So, yes, it's really about the experience of what is it to be a customer of Halogen. Is something going wrong? Do they put it right? Is it a clean experience using the app? That's really what you're selling. It's not so much the actual meter, it's everything that comes with it.
Okay, I like that. I like that is in terms of Logistic wise, though, so if we was to break it down, would it be a smaller element? You mentioned the app. Would that be part of the product?
It absolutely would be. It's part
Yeah.
of the experience because what you're ultimately selling is the ability for customers to have control over their energy. And the app
Yeah.
is the tool that they're going to use to have control over their energy. So
Okay.
the app being, it's not only the product, this is how all the 7Ps come together. It's also
Mm.
it's the product, it's also proof, but importantly, it's a place too. It's a
Mm.
virtual place where the customer will be actually acting with your product.
I like it. Yes, they're everything connected, isn't it? That's great. Everything connected in those 7Ps is what your actual experience is. I like it. Really nice. And Halogen are used to talking to business customers because they had grants from the energy companies before. They've not really had to market before. If they say to us, look, we already sell to business customers, why is it going to be any different? What would your answer be?
Well, ultimately, you already sell to business customers, but you are looking to expand your market to direct to consumers.
Mm.
But what I would say is that your direct customers, they work for businesses. Everybody out there is all part of a whole. Now, if you have happy customers out there that are working and they have halogen at home, and when it comes to these same people are making business decisions for their business, if they have a good brand image and experience with halogen, I know from experience that's what they're going to have at the forefront of their mind.
Mm. I like it. So basically, you would also see them as a potential prospects, but you're already in there and they've got a bit of awareness about your brand and a bit of a knowledge. So it can help in terms of putting them or converting them to consumers. I like that. That's nice. But would I'm assuming our marketing techniques would be different to businesses versus consumers, do you think?
I think so. With consumers, it's more on a personal level.
Mm.
It always comes down to excuse me, to cost and price. But I think uh, how to use the term loosely, a little bit more warm and fuzzy towards
Mm.
consumers because
Yeah.
you're with consumers, you're going to be a presence in their home. With
Yeah.
businesses, you're a presence in the office, or you're something that's going to be in the books that accounting deals with, and it'll be in the back of the mind. With consumers, it needs much more of a personal approach.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think when you're in the office, you're completely right that it could be more driven from the financial aspects because you're going to have a mass amount of sites. It's less about the value or the feeling the associated product gives you. So you're completely right. When you go to consumers, you might use marketing that taps in more to feeling base. I like it. Or causation base, or causes, or needs, but tapping into the consumers and who they are is a great approach.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm stopping recording. We'll have a chat. So it's slowly but surely